What's going on, people? Just wanted to do a quick live stream, and I was just thinking something that came to my mind. I'm not gonna be on here too long. I don't even know if anybody is up at this time. You're probably in other live streams and stuff like that. Hopefully, you can see me. I can see you. As usual, when I go live, somebody else is calling somebody. But this is just a clear one. You're up. Hey, it was good seeing you, Melanie. Thanks for checking me out. I appreciate that. Sometimes in people we see what we want to see, you know, be it positive, be it negative. We put our own insecurities in people sometimes. Yeah, no problem. Wish I could have given you a better tour. What's up, Salty Nuts? What's going on, Beamer TV? Cheers to you as well. Yeah, just expressing some thoughts that I have real quick. Sometimes we see in people what we want to see. We don't see people for who they are. We have this image of folks, the way that we would like to imagine them in our minds, the way that we would like to, see a relationship and stuff like that, or a co-worker or whatnot. Sometimes we project things on people that are really not there. Sometimes folks are just not, who we thought they were, or we feel they should be. And that's okay, that's all right. But the reason I say all this is because sometimes we just fooling ourselves. It's 5 a.m. here. That's crazy, Salty Nuts. I appreciate that. 5:45 a.m. It's somewhere around 12 or 1 a.m. over here on the East Coast. I forget what time it is. You know, but back to what I was saying. Sometimes, be it for better or worse, negative, positive, we see things in people that are not really there. We see folks, in a certain light in a relationship, be it professionally, be it personally, or otherwise. And we put our morality on them sometimes. We put our thought process, or we judge folks. We feel people should be, a particular certain way. And I say all that to say that we should see people for who they are. You should see folks, for what they do, how they interact with you. If a person is a certain way with you, if they project certain things, if they tell you who they are, believe them for what they say, take it at face value. You know what I mean? Too many times in life, we get mad at people for not being the way that we want them to be, without realizing that, what, maybe we didn't pay attention to who the person was in the first place. Sometimes we just want relationships and situations to work out so much that we're willing to change the narrative. We're willing to change the reality of what we saw. I feel like a lot of relationships don't work out because instead of people seeing folks for who they are and what they were telling you they were, we pretend that we can change people. We pretend that we can make a person or remake them into our image, build a bear, or, create a person. Millie says hi to Millie. It was nice meeting your sister as well. And it's just kind of crazy. And like I said, I just wanted to share that because like I said, I don't have a whole bunch. K-Vlog said I need advice on bipolar anxiety disorder and depression. Um, that's interesting. You said you need advice. What kind of advice do you need? I mean, I'm not a counselor, but maybe I can help you just from my limited, scope of knowledge or whatnot. I mean, it depends on the particular point that you're coming from. K-Vlogs, you know, um, clinically, people deal with depression, different ways, or bipolar, behavior and whatnot to deal with and help control. Hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, wow. That was a heavy one right there. Well, as far as that goes, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. As far as dealing with bipolar behavior and depression, I don't know about the bipolar behavior, but I know about the depression. It helps to change the focus on what it is that you're looking at. If you're depressed about something, you probably want to put yourself in a situation where you're around people who are encouraging, places and things that uplift you and upbuild you, that are constantly giving you hope, be it family members, be it friends, be it work situations. Okay, I had to, so yeah, okay. Um, nah, definitely there's places you can go. I don't want to pretend like I'm somebody that has all the answers, because I really don't. But what I'll say is that if you have any family members, if you have any friends, if you have any people around you, you don't want to be alone. When you're depressed and you're going through things, you want to try to be around people, who are gonna really just be there for you, that are not gonna judge you, that are gonna listen. As far as dealing with any bipolar situation, maybe you do want to seek counseling on that. I mean, I wouldn't find that hard pressed, to deal with, as far as trying to seek counseling. I mean, there's no one broad stroke or one particular way to deal with that particular situation, or to deal with the particular thing that you're going through. I'm sorry that you going through the bipolar or depression and whatnot. Depression is nothing. It's no laughing matter. It is a big deal. People have taken it off to the deep end and even hurt themselves because of depression. We do live in a world where people do feel hopeless. Like they have nowhere to turn to, like they have no one to talk to. And hey, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. You could just hit me up. I don't have all the answers, but I could try to find answers and work through it with you if there's anything possible that we can do. But as far as dealing with bipolar behavior and dealing with depression, the only thing I can tell you is to know that you're not alone out there, that there are resources, there are people out there willing to help you. There are folks that are willing to go through the struggle with you. As far as bipolar behavior and depression, you first need to find somebody you can trust, somebody that's not going to judge you, somebody that's not going to be quick to try to diagnose you, somebody that's just going to really just listen. A lot of times I realize when it comes to dealing with anybody, you want to find somebody who's willing to understand. You first seek to understand, then to be understood. So you want people to understand you. You want somebody who's just gonna, take it in. Who's gonna ask, certain questions. About when did this start? What was your behavior like? When do you notice yourself getting depressed? What are the triggers and things that you have? You want somebody to really just sit down with you and take time to just hash it out and go through the long distance struggle with you. Because for me to try to answer it on this live stream, I'll be honest with you, I'll be lying to you to say that I have any type of answers or any concrete way of going through it. It is a long process. You have to find somebody who's willing to go through this with you as long as it takes, as opposed to dealing with depression or bipolar behavior. You want somebody to be there for you. I mean, I know a couple of people on YouTube that have bipolar behavior, and they do particular things, to try to, help, their bipolar condition and whatnot, or dealing with any particular depression. Yeah, what's up, 90 Glock? I see you out there. The champ is there. As far as from what I know about people dealing with depression, the thing is not to be alone. The thing is to talk to somebody. And like I said, I thank you for coming on to this live stream. Especially if you're dealing with depression, reaching out to anybody, that's a positive step in a positive direction. It's not something that can be dealt with in one conversation, in one live stream, in one sit down, with one particular, form of medication or another. It's a long process. It's a tarrying, if you want to say. It is a journey, to deal with depression, to deal with bipolar behavior. It is something that you may seek counseling on. You may have meditation, prayer, particular things that you want to do. But whatever you do to deal with those particular behaviors or whatever it is, you want to have people that you can trust, people that can keep your stuff confidential, people that can, not judge you, because a lot of times in this world we do have people who are judgmental, and I talked about that last night about people having skeletons and stuff like that, and folks getting judgmental, my last live stream about we have skeletons, but in this particular live stream, I was just talking about how, we try to project things on people that aren't there. We try to put people in situations and pretend like they care about us, and, they're really there for us when they're not. Or we put people in a negative space sometimes and say, what, this person is no good, and, they're not going to be there for us, when in turn, they really are. What's going on, Rusty Faith? I appreciate you for coming in. Thank you, 90 Glock. Thank you, Kate Vlogs. Thank you, Melanie, and everybody else that came through. I think I'm missing somebody Who am I missing? Salty Nuts and Beamer TV. Thank you for all 6 people that came through this live stream. I appreciate you definitely for coming through. But the reason I say I'll take the time out to talk about, hey, what's up, Vinny G? I appreciate you. The reason I take time to talk about this is because you don't want to fool yourself. Sometimes when we're dealing with people, whoever they are, be it a family, be it a member, be it a friend, be it an acquaintance that we come by, you want to always be aware of who people are. You always want to be aware of what a person is showing you, their true nature. Sometimes we see people for what we want because we have this idea, this pristine idea of what we would like people to be in our minds. But then we fool ourselves and put ourselves around, the improper company. Or maybe that's what you want. But the thing is, I say to always be aware of your surroundings and who you're around and who you choose to associate with. Don't fool yourself when somebody's telling you how they are. Don't fool yourself when somebody is telling you that they may be a negative influence or force in your life. Don't try to change people. The only people that can change, anybody is the person that's dealing with the situations themselves. People have to want to change. They have to want to be different. They have to want to, be whatever it is that they can be, the best they can be. It's not up to us to try to change people and make people into what we want. But sometimes we project things on people, be it positive, be it negative, be it indifferent, We just put things on folks because we have this image of who folks are in our minds, guilty by associating with is good people or bad people. Yes, exactly, Vinny G. Sometimes, we're in situations where, we know a person is not good for us, or, we're not good for that person. And we just try to force the action, which is something folks can do. But at the end of the day, things don't turn out right. Don't be mad at that person. Don't ever be mad at somebody for being the way they are. Just be mad at yourself for not noticing it sooner. Be it they positive, be it they negative, be it they good for you, be it they not good for you. It's about an awareness of your surroundings, an awareness of the people that you deal with, awareness of the people you choose not to deal with, Like I said, just modestly self-effacing. Thanks, 90 Glock, I appreciate that. And a lot of times we fool ourselves because here's the reality. Sometimes we're around people and we know they're no good for us. Hey, what's going on, Kimber Customs? We're around folks and we know they're no good for us. But what happens is they may make us feel good. They may give us a certain type of a vibe that we're looking for. Early recognition is a lifelong valuable skill. Yes, it is, Vinny G. But sometimes people sleepwalk. They fall asleep because you may be around people and they make you feel a certain way. They make you feel butterflies. They make your heart beat a little faster. They may give you a certain sensation in certain body parts. Yo, White Pac, I see you, White Pac, I see you. Thanks for coming through the live stream. But the reality is, regardless of how people make us feel sometimes, or what vibe they give to us, or, what energy we get from them, be aware of who they are. Be aware of who you're around, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of how you are around people, how people are around you, because a lot of times, we get misled because of our feelings, our emotions, of what we feel the situation could be, and you don't want to get lost unless you do, So like I said, that's really where I was with that, and it's just something I wanted to share. Nothing really deep, nothing really, in depth like that, but I just thought that, as it pertains to people, we just need to be more aware of the company we keep, if anything, and I think a lot of times when people have negative things go on in their life or situations go awry, they fail to realize of the influences, the people, the things, the places that are around them, where they're going, what they're doing, the thoughts that they have in their mind, the things that they're trying to change or things that are allowed to change them. And these are things that are important, My mother likes to quote a scripture: corrupt communication spoils useful habits. It was written in the Bible. 90 Glock says, I think sometimes you should try to stay away from the negative and only look for the positive, and negative can really hold you back. I definitely agree. What's going on, Crimson Fantasy? Exposure of emotions sometimes exposing vulnerabilities. I definitely agree with you, Vinny G. I definitely agree with you, 90 Glock. Hey to you, Crimson Fantasy. Well, just to address those comments. Yeah, exposure of emotions does lead to vulnerability, and you have to be careful who you exposing your emotions to. You can expose your emotions to the wrong person, and it could lead you down a deadly, dangerous path. As far as what you were saying, 90 Clock, you do get into situations too where you have to separate yourself from the negativity, where too much of that can really lead you in a bad way. But the reality is, sometimes these negative behaviors or these people that we around, you know, they make us feel good, or they gave us a sensation. They made us feel a certain type of way. Crimson Fantasy says it's good to make sure you know who you open up to. Definitely. And also too, hey, what's going on, Cargo 619? Thank you for coming through. Thanks for the big thumbs up. Yeah, but like I said, it is something that you want to be aware of. And I think sometimes because of the people that we around sometimes, or because of how a person made us feel, that we fail to realize who they are, where they're coming from. Nani Glock says, yeah, the other day I had to separate myself from a certain person. Oh, okay. It's name. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that is a situation. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna get into that on a live stream. But I definitely get where you're coming from, 90 Glock. Sometimes you do have to separate yourself in situations, even when it's people that you love, even when it's when people that you care about. But you want to be careful not to get too crazy or caught out there with that. But just to wrap this all up, because like I said, I'm not going to keep you folks on here all night. Be aware of who you're dealing with. See folks for who they are. Crimson Fantasy says removing yourself is the best way to access the situation. Yeah. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from negative situations, but also be mindful of the part that you played in the situation. I say that with any situation. If it goes left, if it goes right, if it goes up, if it goes down, all around. Because sometimes the worst lies that we tell are the ones that we tell ourselves about the people that we're dealing with. Sometimes the writing is on the wall. We see who we're dealing with, and we just get caught up in the good times. We get caught up in the fantasy. Especially got Crimson Fantasy on here. Sometimes we get caught up in just the emotion of it all, and we fail to see who we're dealing with. And then we start saying, okay, when we see something, we just dismiss it because that person gave us a good day or a good moment or a good feeling. Melanie says the worst lies are the ones we tell ourselves. Yeah, that's true. They're always the worst ones because we will lie to ourselves about who we see, about who we around, or what's going on, what people say, the negativity. Maybe because the person looks good, maybe because the person had money, maybe because the person made us feel a certain way. Maybe there's a certain status that comes with being around that particular person. But in the long run, if you really care about yourself, you're going to be honest with the people that you choose to be around. You're going to be honest with the people that are around you and how they present themselves, and you tell the truth. You be honest with yourself about how you may influence somebody, because sometimes we like to project things that are not really there. We don't like to project things sometimes that are our truest nature. We try to put on a front, or like the Chinese do, you try to save face. You try to throw on the mask and pretend to be better than you are. When we do have perfections, we do have negativities, we do have situations where people just don't match up and add up, and everybody don't belong to everybody. Everybody shouldn't hang around everybody. Everybody shouldn't be connected to everybody. But it happens. 90 Glock says, and that's why I should never make up any type of lies about what I'm doing. You can't, somebody just tell the truth. True. Truth is key and truth is paramount. But, be honest with who you around. Be honest with yourself. If you're lying to that person, if that person is lying to you, if it's going left, if it's taking a turn for the worse, be honest with who you're around. Be honest with what you're doing as much as possible. Sometimes it's a challenge because we may not want to go there. The truth, the emotions of it all can be ugly sometimes. It can take us down a dark path. It can take us to places we don't want to be. As Vinny G said in here, the vulnerability of it all. Who wants to be vulnerable? Who wants to put all their emotions out there? Who wants to be that type of person to say, you know what, this is who I am, scars and all. Not a lot of people want to do that. And sometimes we don't want to see that in other folks. Sometimes it could be somebody we love or somebody we chose to be with or spend time with. We don't want to see the negativities that may exist in them. We don't want to see, especially if we don't want to see them in ourselves. So we find ourselves lying to ourselves about who we're dealing with. 90 Glock says, yeah, because sometimes I got people that lie to me about certain things that don't really make sense, and it makes me wonder that I'm really important because they want to try to hide things. Well, that happens. But the question is like, what do you do about it? Do you just take it? Do you just accept it? Sometimes we do, you know, but you want to be aware. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're not aware of who you're around. You're not aware of what you have to do. Sometimes, as much as it hurts, we have to separate ourselves from a situation. We have to avoid doing negative things. We have to avoid, putting ourselves in the worst way, to avoid jail time or maybe even worse, to avoid all kind of complications that could come with a situation when you could walk away. Cargo 619 says, I think sometimes people have a difficulty knowing when to set boundaries between honesty and oversharing. Yes, that's a live stream that I'm definitely going to do something on too about oversharing. But people do overshare. Definitely that comes. It happens. That's a particular thing that in this today's society is. But I'll tell you one thing. People overshare a lot of things except for all the truth. Sometimes we overshare our version of the truth. What we want the truth to look like. And sometimes that comes in other people. Yeah, 90 Glock says facts. Think about it. How many times have you actually really told anybody the whole truth and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Sometimes we tell people we're okay when we're really not. Somebody asks me right now, if somebody was to ask me right now how I'm doing, I would tell them that I'm good, I'm great, and I could be lying. I'm just telling you something just to save face and say, oh yeah, I'm great. I don't want you to really know. But then when you really find out, what do? If you don't want to believe that I'm struggling, then you'll make it up in your mind and say, well, yeah, he's okay. But somebody even on a live stream just told me that they're depressed, that they're going through something, they're bipolar. Somebody just told me on this live stream that I dealt with for a few minutes. And then what happens? If I don't want to deal with it, if I don't want to believe it, then I could just say that person is okay. When obviously they're going through something. But definitely K-Vlogs, you can contact me through my email, seeker.dreamer.believer@gmail.com. We could definitely have a private conversation about that. Melanie says people often don't want to hear the truth though. Exactly. And Cargo 619 definitely agrees with you. But the reality of it all is that it is important to seek the truth. It's important to be aware. Too many times in this society, folks are sleepwalking. People are so distracted, trying to escape, trying to go through things, which is another live stream that I'm going to get into eventually. I'm just touching on a whole bunch of things right now. But these are things that I'm not going to go too deep into because I am going to have to wrap this up. And I told somebody that I was going to come back into their live stream. I think Cap 7 is still doing the live stream, so I'm going to go in there before I actually call it a night or call it a morning or something like that. But the important thing is that I wanted to highlight is that it's important for us not to project what we want to see in people or what we hope people are or the negativities or the judgments that they go through, because we want to see people for who they really are. You have a great night too, Cargo 619. You want to be aware because, like I said, that's how you deal with the truth about what's influencing you, how you influencing them, where you are as a person, the company you keep, whether or not you're being corrupted, whether or not you're corrupting other people, whether or not you're really being honest with yourself, or you're in the best space in your life. And those are the things I just wanted to touch on. Like I said, not to get too deep. Thank you for everybody that came into the live stream. Thank you for everybody that commented, that gave the thumbs up. Don't forget to share this if this is beneficial to anybody else. Please correct me where I'm wrong. If you feel like I'm wrong, I'm not right on everything. If you have any information and things that you want to, pass on to me about bipolar behavior, depression, definitely I'll be willing to take that and share that with those that need that information. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, and I'm definitely appreciative to those that come through. Hopefully this was helpful in any way. If this was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please reshare. Please comment. Please subscribe. Just have a conversation and engage with me. If there's something else that you would like to talk about on these live streams, you can hit me up at my email, seeker.dreamer.believer@gmail.com. We can definitely have a conversation, chop it up, make some videos, talk about some real issues. And I'm out.